All right, so why don't you just introduce yourself and kind of tell me what you do, and we'll start from there.
All right. My name is Craig Clark, and I own Chaparral Gardens Vinegar in Atascadero. We're located between Morro Bay and Atascadero on Highway 41. It's kind of my second career, so to speak. I was a respiratory therapist by trade for...
Oh, no way.
Yeah, did that for 15, 20 years,
Yeah.
and also did it a little bit while we were putting the vinegar business together to make ends meet. But,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So anyways, kind of fell into the whole vinegar thing. My wife and I, we were high school sweethearts and went our separate ways my senior year of high school. She had moved up to Washington State, and 15 years later, we got back together, paths crossed, and she moved down here to California. We bought the ranch on 41, needed a great big warehouse. She was a hat designer and needed a big warehouse to move her business into.
Yeah.
So anyways, moved her hat business down, put it in this big barn that we have, and I was going to make $1 million selling organic produce at the farmers markets. And after the first year of that, we realized we weren't going to make rent. So,
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah.
no.
So I went back to work at the hospital per diem, part time.
Yeah.
And had a neighbor that had a U-pick berry stand.
Okay.
And he was just up the road. And it was all on the honor system. And one year he had trouble with people stealing stuff out of his barn and all that. So
really?
Yeah. So he closed down the U-pick stand and told us that we could have the rest of the berries because he knew that we were doing farmers markets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we picked a bunch of berries, hundreds of pounds actually, and made pies, jams, jellies, and
So this is like what, blueberries and raspberries?
these are blackberries and raspberries.
Okay.
And so anyways, sold them at the farmer's market, and we still had, a few hundred pounds left over. So
Yeah.
I asked my wife, I go, so what are we going to do now? And we had this old organic book that had a story of this old hippie couple up out of Oregon that had a little roadside stand, and they were making a raspberry vinegar.
Yeah.
And said that they couldn't keep it stocked, and they actually printed out their recipe. So we took that recipe and we made some blackberry vinegar and handed it out as gifts to friends and family at Christmas that year, and they loved it. So we started putting it on the farmer's market table, and lo and behold, couldn't keep it stocked.
You're like, you were right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you were right.
You were actually right.
Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of how we fell into it.
Okay.
And had absolutely no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
So we would make batches, and the vinegar mother would start to form on the top, which had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
So I think, oh, well, this has gone bad. So I would dump it out, start over again, make another batch, and same thing would happen, and dump it out, start over again, and it keeps happening, right? And this is just as Google's starting to come out. This is 23 years ago. So, you start searching online, and you come across, oh, it's Vinegar Mother. It's supposed to be doing that. And it's like, damn,
Oh, you're like, I've been throwing stuff out.
I've dumped out hundreds of gallons, not knowing what I was doing. So, so anyways, it's been a big learning process. And kind of what we've done over the years is each year with excess produce, we would kind of put combinations of it together and make a vinegar out of it. And we would do little test markets at the farmer's market on people. And if they liked it, then we would make a bigger batch, and just kind of grew from there organically, so to speak.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, in the recipe that you got in that book, did it say anything about, you said the vinegar mother, right?
Yeah.
Did it say anything about that?
Didn't say anything about it. So it's like, that would have helped a lot,
So explain that, because I have no idea what that is. So if you could explain that for me.
Okay, so Vinegar Mother is a natural occurring biofilm that will form on a fermenting alcohol.
Okay.
And it's completely natural. It's basically a big cellulose bacteria that consists of a cellulose, a bacteria, and some yeast. And a lot of people think it has health benefits to it. So people that drink apple cider vinegar on a daily basis, they're after basically the Vinegar Mother that is in a raw vinegar.
Okay.
So looking for health
Gotcha.
benefits, supposedly, helps your gut bacteria.
Yeah, the microbiome.
The
or whatever.
microbiome, that's all in it.
Yeah.
And, helps support your immune system and all kinds of stuff. So.
Okay, so you're like, hey, this is forming. I don't know if this is right or not. So it's naturally supposed to form. Do you do anything to the vinegar when you start making it for that to happen, or is that just occurring naturally as the process goes on?
It will occur naturally.
Yeah.
From the different bacteria and yeast that are floating in the ambient air.
Okay.
It will attach to the alcohol that you're fermenting off. So to make vinegar, it's a double fermentation. You make alcohol first.
Okay.
And then you ferment the alcohol off. And the way you ferment the alcohol off is you allow oxygen to hit the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when you open up a bottle of wine and you set it on the counter and you don't drink the whole thing and you don't recork it. You can come back in a couple days and it tastes off.
Yeah.
That's because the oxygen has started to hit that alcohol and it has started that second fermentation process.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. So you started with the blueberries and raspberries, and then you're just starting to use other fruits and basically to whatever you have left over.
Whatever we have left over, yeah. I grow probably 80% of all of the produce that goes into our different vinegars,
Mm-hmm.
and what I can't grow or I don't produce enough of, we resource locally.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm a little bit too far inland to grow citrus. It freezes at my house. So all of my citrus comes from 4 miles down the road at Glass Farms, which is on Highway 41 also.
Yeah.
And all of my kiwis come from back in Toro Creek area. And then I also resource some of my berries from a lady out of Cambria.
Oh, that's not the picking place, is it? That lady?
No, it's not the picking place, but she used to sell to Lynn's Pies, and they stopped buying from her. So I now resource a lot of.
Sweet.
I resource, I'll take them.
I'll
take them.
It's not good enough for Lynn's, but
yeah. So anyways, in the wintertime when I'm out of my berries,
Yeah.
I'll resource from her. So pretty much everything comes locally. Depends on what you want to call local. I grew up in the Central Valley, and my grandparents on their old ranch, there's still some fig trees, and the figs for my fig balsamic, they come from the ranch over there.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, but still pretty
still
in
pretty
California.
local. Everything is within California, within
couple
100,
hours,
a couple hours.
So then what like, at least for you, what makes a good vinegar? What would you say?
Time takes time and patience.
Yeah.
People want it to be right away.
Yeah.
But it takes time, a couple months for it to
really
go
that long,
from
huh?
start to finish. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take me through the process of making it then.
Okay. So you have to start with an alcohol. I have gotten to a point now to where I can't do it all on my property. So I am working with a winery up in Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
They do the alcohol process for us. All of my balsamics I make with a California Zen grape. It's what I originally started with. I've got a couple rows of Zen at my house, and that's how we had started with our balsamics. I gave the winery my recipe.
Mm-hmm.
So they produce the alcohol for me. They ship it down.
Mm-hmm.
It goes into all of my tanks, and I add all of my produce during that second fermentation. So I'm fermenting all the alcohol off to make the vinegar. It's pretty simple. I mean, you can take a bottle of wine, any bottle of wine that you want, and you can pour it into a container that has a bigger head opening, so to speak, so you can get oxygen to it. And put a little acetobacter in there, which is the vinegar mother, and let it sit. And after about 2 months, it'll be vinegar.
It'll be vinegar.
It'll be vinegar. It's pretty simple process. People make vinegar by accident all the time and don't realize that they're doing it. So, and anything that you can ferment, you can make a vinegar out of.
Yeah, this is all kind of similar process because I've had Eric on and then Colony Mash on, and they're kind of like, they're not exactly the same, but they're fermenting too. So do you add yeast other than the people that up north that do your alcohol?
I do not have to.
You don't have to. Okay.
I have so much acetobacter floating around in my barn from the 20 years of doing this that all I do is I have everything in a fermenting tank. They're in fermenting tanks. So I take the lid off And to steal a term from the wine industry is we punch down once a week, and that allows the ambient oxygen to get into the alcohol and the tanks, and then we put the lid back on. Next week we take the lid off, punch it down some more, and just keep incorporating the oxygen into the tanks. And after a couple months, it's ready to start bottling.
It's ready to go. Do you look at other vinegars? Like, do you get any inspiration from like overseas or anything? They have like the fancy balsamics and over there and aged and
Well, see, I'm doing mine completely different.
Okay.
The way they do them in Italy is they use 3 specific types of grapes. They're a white grape, and they'll take those grapes, they'll smash them up, and they'll take that and they will heat it to 190 degrees and hold it for 24 hours.
Okay.
That will start to put the color into the white liquid that they're getting from it. That's called the vinegar must. So they'll take the vinegar must, they'll put it into a wine barrel.
Yeah.
And where the bung is at on the barrel, they'll cut that out and make a bigger space so more oxygen can hit it. And they will let it reduce down naturally over a 12-year period. For it to be a traditional balsamic, it has to sit for a minimum of 12 years.
Does that have to be a certain area of Italy too?
The
is.
Modena part of Italy is where a balsamic comes from.
Okay.
And 99% of a true balsamic never leaves Italy. It's made by the Italian family. It's shoved up in the rafters of the barn, and it's only given out on special occasions for like a wedding, a birth of a new baby, stuff like that. Yeah. So a true Italian balsamic that has been aged for 12 to 15, 18 years is going to cost you a minimum of $100 an ounce.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So
insane.
If you go around, here in the States and you're buying a bottle of aged balsamic.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And you're paying $25-$30 a bottle.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Right.
Right. It's a bastardized version of the real thing.
Do they still age it though?
Not really.
No.
It might have a tiny bit of an aged balsamic in it, so they can say that it's aged.
Oh my gosh.
But it's mostly, they'll caramelize it and they'll heat it to the point that it really thickens, and it's like I said, it's a bastardized version of the real thing. So it's not really the real thing. If it was, you're going to be spending a ton of money.
Yeah.
So back to the way I do it.
Yeah.
And when we first started out, we ran into a lot of flack with the.
I'm sure you would.
Because I was calling mine a California balsamic, and they're saying, well, you can't call it a balsamic. And I'm saying, well, there's no regulation.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want, right? I can call it what I want. But in the vinegar world, it's like the Wild West. There's no regulation to it. People are doing whatever they want with the stuff.
Yeah.
But I use stainless steel. I use a Zen grape.
Okay.
So the color's already in it.
Yeah.
And like I said, stainless steel, it's a cleaner flavor profile.
Okay.
It allows me to play with the flavor profile. I can push it forward on your palate or pull it back. With a balsamic, with it being stepped down over a 12-year period through different woods. They start with an oak, and I think it goes to a cherry and several other different oaks or different woods. It puts flavoring into the vinegar that way. And if I were to use it, it would put tannins into the vinegars, and it would mask some of the subtle nuances of the flavors I actually want you to taste. So I'm doing it completely different. I don't have the time to sit on it and let it age for 12 years.
You gotta get it out.
So
right?
I got to get it out,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm selling mine for $20 a bottle as opposed to $200 a bottle.
Right.
So.
So does the when you go through this process, does it have to be a certain temperature, or does it need to get to a certain temperature? Like, how like with like baker's yeast and stuff, it has to be like a certain temperature when you start bread, and if it's too hot, it kills the yeast. Is there anything like that with how you do things?
Not with the vinegar. Vinegar actually likes it a little bit warmer.
Okay.
Wine prefers it, between 65 and 70. Vinegar actually likes it between 75, 85, up to 90 degrees.
Oh, a little warmer.
It likes it a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
So in the summertime, this time of the year, as my barn warms up, I can turn a tank quicker. In the wintertime, as it cools down and my barn is cold, it takes almost double the time to turn a tank and get it to turn. So
this week's fast.
This week's fast, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. You're like, it's done.
Yeah, hell, that took a week. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So on a normal turn, it's about 8 weeks for me to turn a tank and have it ready to be able to bottle up.
Okay.
Wintertime, we're 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, depends. It varies.
Yeah. So with the temperature and aging faster, like how you age whiskey or stuff like that, you lose some. Is it the same? Like, do you lose a little bit when you're doing, or just because it's quicker process, it's not really significant?
Yeah, no, I'm not losing volume on mine at all.
Just how fast it is.
It's how fast it is.
Yeah.
And, like in Italy, the way it thickens, the way a true balsamic thickens is through natural evaporation of the waters. Mm-hmm. So, those drums, as they step it down each year, they're getting smaller and smaller on the drums just because they're losing volume.
But then the concentration of
flavor is intense.
Intense, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So are you looking at other vinegars as far as like inspiration, or you have a few, but then are you looking forward and be like, hey, I kind of want to try something with that? Like you said, something with kiwis, like a kiwi vinegar, right?
Well, I've got 16 different vinegars that I do right now.
So that's probably enough for you.
That's
keeps you pretty busy.
I mean, we're totally out of room. I don't have any more space to do any others.
Yeah.
And I've tried to drop a few off at the end of the table that don't sell as well, but it seems like as soon as I drop it off the table,
like, hey,
wait, yeah. Now I want that one. So I've got to bring it back.
Yeah.
So my two top sellers are my blackberry balsamic and my champagne mimosa.
Okay.
But the blackberry balsamic, I mean, we do what I call a fruit vinegar, and that starts with a non-GMO organic grain base. So kind of like they're making a moonshine base is the alcohol.
Okay, yeah.
And that's what we were passionate about from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
And we held off on doing a balsamic for a long, long time. Kept getting asked at the farmer's market if we did a balsamic,
right.
we do a balsamic. So we finally made the blackberry balsamic. We took it to the International Fancy Food Show up in San Francisco.
It's a place to bring it to.
And it won Best Vinegar in the Nation. Beat out all the Italians, beat out everybody from around the world.
Wow.
And the next year, all of the Italians were coming by our booth. Everybody was coming by our booth trying to figure out what we were doing.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, the next year after that,
it was all the same.
Boom. The Italians have came out with their flavored vinegars, and all the flavored balsamics have just started rolling from there. So, I mean, not really bragging, but I think that our blackberry balsamic kind of kicked off the whole flavored balsamic industry, and it's just kind of gone nutso over the last 10 or 15 years. I mean, you can get any flavored balsamic out there that you want.
Yeah, I've kind of seen it. I'm like, this is kind of crazy. I don't really know which one. I like, red wine vinegar, your regular vinegar. I use a lot of white vinegar, and then apple cider. Those are like the main ones.
Main ones, yeah.
But I mean,
yeah, I mean, when I was a kid growing up in my Italian family in the Central Valley, I mean, it was a red wine vinegar that came from the old Pacini winery over here in Paso Robles. And that's all we used.
Yeah.
And then, I don't even remember when balsamic started to get popular.
Yeah.
But, it's an interesting industry, and one of the greatest forms of flattery is somebody copying what you're doing.
Especially the Italians. I mean,
especially the Italians.
I mean, I'm just surprised you didn't get whacked or something.
I know, right?
Hey, I gotta watch my back.
Maybe I've got enough Italian in me that they know they left
They're
me
like,
alone.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
he's Italian.
It's okay. He's Italian.
It would be a problem if it wasn't. All right, he's one of us. Wow.
So it's been an interesting ride, that's for sure. And we've over the years have won 3 gold Sophies, with best vinegar in the nation, and I've got, I think, 6 second places. So we've done all right.
Nice. So what can you tell me about the vinegars you got? I guess you brought some. So
I brought a few for us to try. I I brought my blackberry balsamic, which is my #1 seller, and it's the first Sophie Award winner. And then I brought a couple other interesting ones.
So over the years, you've kind of dialed all these in, right? Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So that'll have kind of a wine finish on the back of your palate.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Thank you.
So this is the one that you won a bunch of awards for?
I did. Yeah. That's won the most awards.
I can definitely tell why, for sure.
Should get the berry pretty much up front on
Yeah.
that one, and then a little bit of wine finish on the back. This is the Champagne Mimosa, completely different style vinegar. It'll have a little bit more acid bite on the back of your palate, but that's also a big winner.
Mm.
Completely
very different.
Style. Completely different.
Very,
style.
very different. They're both good. They're both great.
Yeah, they're both good. My two top sellers, hands down, are those two. And then,
So with that last one, so do they make? So the process is like making champagne to begin with,
It is,
and then you
exactly.
add whatever.
and then I add my oranges when it comes down and ferment off all the alcohol, and voila, there you go. You got your Champagne Mimosa vinegar.
So are you like Eric and have like some guy? No, maybe it's the people that do your alcohol for you, but like he's like, I got a guy that is a doctor. Is a doctor in yeast.
Oh, really?
And it's out in Kentucky. And he's like, hey, I want to talk to this guy, and I want it to taste like this. And they're like, oh yeah, we got that. And
That's pretty funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Eric's cool dude. For
Yeah, no,
sure.
he's awesome.
And yeah, no, I just the recipe that we got out of that book.
Yeah.
I signed a contract with this winery, and a no compete and a no no tell everybody how you do it stuff.
Right.
And
You're like, fine, whatever.
Yeah, fine. Here, let's do it. And each year we go up and go through the winery and all that fun stuff and redo the contract. So that
Oh yeah.
that is an ole mole. That's got 12 spices of a traditional Mexican mole in it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm getting, huh?
Yeah. So that took about 3 years to get that flavor profile to the point that we felt it was good enough to start bottling.
Yeah.
That won Best Vinegar in the Nation in 2017 at the Fancy Food Show.
Wow.
Really good steak marinade.
Yeah, I
All
would think
marinade-
so.
Yeah, ribeye steaks, excellent. with
Yeah.
that.
Wow. So what brought you to like, make a mole vinegar?
Well, we've got a house down in Mexico, so we go to Mexico
Quite a bit.
all the time.
Yeah.
And kind of inspired us, to try something Mexican-y.
But mole is very complicated.
It is. I mean, like
If you were to pick something Mexican, you've probably picked the most complicated thing to do.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. That was my wife's idea,
Oh.
but hey, so that's why I said it took 3 years to really get that flavor profile to where we wanted it. The hardest part was the chocolate. Getting the chocolate,
chocolate,
to get that to stay on the profile. It kept wanting to disappear.
Yeah.
So it comes on the very back end of your palate. I wish it was a little bit more forward, but that's the best I could get it. So
Who's doing a mole vinegar? I think
Right,
you're doing just fine.
we're
dude.
probably- yeah, probably.
I think you're doing just fine.
it's a fun one for sure. And then this one here, just to have a little variance. This is kind of an Asian flair. It's Pacific spice, kiwi, citrus, ginger, habanero, chili peppers.
Oh, okay.
So with this one,
Yeah.
you're going to get citrus up front with a little pepper heat on the back end. It's my wife's favorite. Got to make your taste buds do all kinds of funny things.
Yeah. Wow. That's really. Both of those last two ones are.
Pretty complex.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are you like dialing in all that stuff? Like, how do you? Is this just trial and error to kind of?
It's all trial and error.
Oh my gosh.
So I have 3 of them that have more than 3 flavor profiles to it. We found that the more flavor profiles you try to put into it, it can kind of muddle the whole thing. So, only 3 of my vinegars have we been able to get the combination just right to where it doesn't just muddle everything together. This is one of them. I have a holiday edition that I do. It's called Winter Ambrosia. It's apple, pear, cinnamon, cardamom, and clove. Basically tastes like Thanksgiving in a bottle.
Yeah.
And the Ole Mole, which has got 12 different spices.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on in that one also. So we find the simpler the profile, the better. A little easier to keep control of, and people tend to like those the most.
Yeah.
Because it's a simple flavor.
Yeah. Huh. Both of those are really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I would have expected either of those flavors, but that's really crazy that you can kind of dial that in. It's probably going to take you forever to kind of. You're like, I got sweetness, but I don't have salt, or I have this,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's a whole process. And like I said, we start with a very small batch, and a lot of those get dumped out. We have tried so many different combinations that it's like, oh, yeah, no, that doesn't work. Like I have a row of cherry trees. So I thought, cherry vinegar. Take that to the farmer's market.
Easy.
And people go, tastes like cough syrup. Because most cough syrups are a cherry flavored cough syrup.
Yep.
Cough syrup, we've tried a peach with lavender in it. Take it to the farmer's market. People go, it tastes like soap.
I was going to say soap. Yeah.
Yeah. So it all depends. And like I said, we've dumped a lot out and have done a lot of trials. We also do, I have 16 flavors of my label. And I've got probably 5 others that I do for...
Like consulting or something?
Not really consulting, but other companies that want their own unique flavor other than what I'm doing. So so I'm doing unique flavors for other people.
Experimenting with them. That's kind of what Eric said he was doing for a little bit too. So when you have all these vinegars, do you know, I don't know if they tell you, but do you know what people are actually doing with them?
Most people ask, what do I do with this vinegar? And, we designed them to cook with.
Yeah.
So salad dressing is a given.
Right, but something more.
But we tell people to use them whenever you're going to want to squeeze lemon on something.
Yeah.
Go ahead and use a little bit of vinegar because you're basically looking for the acid. They make a great marinade. You could do reductions with them. And I have a star anise and vanilla bean balsamic, which is kind of a dessert balsamic. We do a reduction with that all the time. So we reduce it and thicken it up a little bit. Goes great on ice cream, goes great on fruits, strawberry shortcake, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we kind of throw out, a few little ideas on people. And if you like to cook and you've got an imagination, you'll figure out what to do with it.
Yeah. So a lot of chefs are using your stuff, I'm assuming.
They are.
I don't know if they tell you what they're doing.
Not really.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah, right.
But Chef Eric was probably one of the first chefs in the area that really jumped on our vinegar. And the problem with our vinegar is it's a little more high end. So a chef like Eric will bring it into a restaurant and it'll be there for 4, 5, 6 months. And then whoever's writing out the checks, they'll be going through the books and going,
like, hey,
why am I paying $38 a gallon for a balsamic when I can get it from Cisco for $5?
Right.
And then out the door we go. So then we wait for that chef to move on someplace else.
And then put you back
Comes back in the door.
Yeah.
But, 90% of our business now is bulk wholesale.
Okay.
And so it's private label. So people are buying it and they're relabeling it and rebottling it and selling it under their label.
But then it would be a little more, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit more
markup.
But anyways, that pays the bills.
Yeah.
And it keeps me from having to go out and do all the marketing and all that stuff with my vinegar.
Yeah.
Which I did at the very beginning, but we've gotten to that point that it's like, I'll let somebody else do all that because it's just my wife and I.
Yeah, right. So you have somebody that's doing that all up for you?
No. It's just my wife and I that are
doing that.
That are doing the whole shebang, right? Growing all the produce, pulling all the weeds and everything. So I don't have time to go out and do that. So if somebody wants to buy it from me in a 275-gallon tote and then do whatever they want with it, it's fine with me. Go for it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because I use a lot of, like, when we cook here, and I was telling you before we started rolling, we had to put that outdoor kitchen, but I use a lot of vinegar for barbecue sauces.
Exactly.
Like all kinds of stuff I've been experimenting with.
Yeah.
So I think that the vinegars that you have would be a good complement. I have to figure it out, but definitely be a very interesting, because I usually like white vinegar just because it's clean.
Exactly.
But, you know.
Well, I used to sell to a guy in Napomo that made barbecue sauces.
Yeah.
And he was I have one that's a blackberry with roasted pepper. And he would make a barbecue sauce out of that. And he came to me one day and he says, "Do you have this without the blackberries, just the peppers?" So I made one specifically for him.
Yeah.
I did roasted ancho chili peppers and roasted bell peppers.
Oh, that would be perfect.
And it's perfect.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah,
So,
that would be perfect,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, it's called head ancho. And so anyways, that makes a really, really good barbecue sauce. So does the Pacific Spice. Makes a good barbecue sauce too.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, even the Asian one, because I really like the Korean flavors, and we make like a Korean barbecue sauce most of the time for like chicken, and it's so good.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So are you cooking a lot with these as well?
We do. We use them all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So especially now, this time of the year when the garden's in full swing.
Yeah.
And we go out and pick fresh produce and take it right up to the kitchen and saute up some vegetables and finish it off with some of the vinegars. And like the winter ambrosia, I used to inject our Thanksgiving turkey with it and then deep fry it. Works really well. So I don't know if it's the deep fry or the vinegar that makes it good.
You're
but,
like, I think it's my vinegar.
Yeah.
Though. Yeah.
But anything fried,
I have yet to do that. I've been saying I need to do it, but maybe this year I'll do it.
Yeah, good deal. It's fun. It's fun. I did
yeah,
it for
I got
years.
plenty of space back there, so I'm like, I gotta do it.
Yep.
Just getting all the oil and messing with all that.
I know. Yeah, it's peanut oil, and that's not the best thing for you, but still,
like cooks in an
once a
hour
year.
or two. Something.
Yeah, cooks. What is it? I think
Depending.
12 minutes a pound.
Yeah,
something like that. I'd have to look again.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, it doesn't take very long. About an hour, you're good to go.
Nice. Let's see what else. So are you still doing all the farmers markets though?
I haven't done farmers markets in about 10 years now.
Okay.
But God, at one point we were doing 6-7 markets a week. A lot of
around.
work. Yeah, a lot of work.
A lot of driving.
A lot of driving. A lot of politics in the local farmers markets, unfortunately, or at least there used to be.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because we could sell our produce at one farmer's market, but not the vinegar, or sell the vinegar but not the produce, and it was just kind of a hassle.
They don't let you sell vinegar?
Well, we were one of the first people to have a value-added product at one of the farmers markets. So the county was like going, "Dude, we've never seen anybody do vinegar before. What do we do? How do we?"
What does it matter?
Well, they've got to control you somehow, right? It's like we got to regulate them somehow, and they just had no idea what to do with us. So do we put them in the farmers section? I mean, they're making their vinegar with their produce, but I can't have them with the farmers. So I mean, it was a big ta-da for the first few years until they kind of figured out what to do with us, and then other people kind of started coming in with their own little value-added products and stuff. So it's expanded. 20 years ago it was a different story, but now you go to the farmers markets and there's a lot of people with there's
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. But when we first started doing this, they were like going, don't know what to do with you, don't know where to put you. We would get invited to do like little Christmas bazaars and stuff out at the different wineries, and people were just like going, "Vinegar? What are you doing with vinegar in a winery? You can't have it's going to taint the wine." And it was pretty funny.
So silly.
It was pretty funny, but
So silly.
everybody's past all that now.
I would assume so. Yeah.
It was just at the very beginning we were like, people were like going, they just had no idea what to do with us. So
I mean, I could see that small town here.
I mean, it was a learning experience, but people have grown and
no change.
Gotten past
don't
it.
Change.
Yeah, don't change.
Don't change anything.
Nope. Yeah, don't. Yeah, but I mean, that's what all good wine wants to be, is a good vinegar. So
eventually, right?
Eventually.
Yeah. Well, sweet. What do you got going now? Like what's the next thing? Or are you just kind of just churning these out and, just kind of staying?
We're just kind of churning them out. Like I said, I mean, we're completely out of space. So to add more tanks is almost next to impossible unless I want to move everything off site and go into a warehouse. You know, I mean, it was when we started all of this, it was a lifestyle that we were looking to do. We weren't looking to make $1 million or whatever. It was a lifestyle, and my commute is a 75-yard bridge from my house to my barn every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, the only time I really leave is to go to the gym in the morning and come back. And then I'm I'm at home, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll go 4 or 5 days without even leaving the property.
I mean, you don't have to.
I don't have to.
I mean, I would
Everything
be the same
is right
way.
there, right?
I would be exactly the same way.
Yeah. So I mean, we've got it dialed in. We're at the point that we're kind of cruising along, and have our routine, and it's working, and we're surviving and being able to pay the bills, and that's the main thing. And so expanding any further, I don't see that really happening. I think we're I mean, I have 16 different vinegars. Do I want to make any more?
Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable where you're at, why make any more stress?
Well, exactly. Yeah. My hair's gray enough as it is, so.
But it's okay. So you're not. So you got 16 vinegars. Is there any like, I don't know. You're trying to get them to like, some people are like, oh, let's get them into like distribution. Anything like that? Does that come with bigger space too?
That comes with bigger space, and we tried the whole distributor thing, and the person that makes all the money is the distributor.
I would assume so.
So basically, what you're doing is you're creating more work for yourself. You're making more volume, but you're making less money just because of
their take, right?
Because of their take, right? So they want like a 25% discount so they can make the profit on their end. So, we found early on that distribution wasn't really a good fit for us. That's kind of why we went into more of the bulk wholesale, and we'll let them worry about their distribution and what type of profit they want to make. So we've got our profit margin dialed in, and we're just kind of sticking with it and rolling with it. That's why I haven't really pushed my vinegar too far outside of California. Yeah, right. This whole county has been just a tremendous support for Chaparral Gardens. It's amazing the support that we get from this community and this county. And I've got it in a lot of stores around here.
I've seen it a few different places for sure.
Yeah. So, but the majority of it that's going back east and all over the country, it's like I said, it's all just bulk wholesale and private label. So, but I mean, we're in Whole Foods, we're in Sprouts, we're in all these other high end retails, but it's not under my brand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. So,
right.
So
okay.
if you go in there and you get, a champagne mimosa vinegar.
You're like,
or a blackberry balsamic, more than likely it's ours. It's come from us, but it's not going to be under our label.
Right.
So that's kind of how we've rolled, and it's worked for us.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
I'm not really looking to sell off the business, or the brand, so to speak, like a lot of people do. They build up a brand, and then they sell it off. Yeah. But I mean, who's going to buy me? Heinz, Fleischmann's? I don't know. I mean, right. It's not like Procter and Gamble or somebody like that is going to come and buy me out. So we didn't go that route. We just did the bulk wholesale and stayed small, local with our own brand, and it's worked well for us.
That seems to be what everyone says. Like all the people that I've talked to so far, they're like, just keep it local. Don't really want to get bigger. Maybe. Other than Eric, maybe. I mean, he's just kind of outgrown that space, though.
He has, for sure. But he's got a new one coming.
Yeah.
Which will be nice.
Definitely.
Yeah. So small, local, and just specialize in one thing and do it well.
Yeah.
And I mean, the bigger you get, the bigger headaches you have. And
it seems to be that way.
It's just bigger headaches.
Exactly.
So.
Right.
So I'll let somebody else have the headaches, and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
That's so interesting. I mean, that's so cool. You're just at your farm, and you're just doing your thing. Yeah. And then you're like, hey, it's.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to take 3 weeks off and go down to Mexico for 3 weeks and chill, I do that. So it's worked out well.
So that was what you were after. You're like, I want to do that. That's my lifestyle. I want to work if I can, and then work. I mean, that's almost everyone's goal. That's definitely my goal.
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, exactly.
We work really hard. Like I said, I worked 12 hours on 4th of July yesterday, and
yeah, you did say that.
But but I was fishing all last weekend. Up in the Sierras. So fish for 3 days, come home, and work all 4th of July, which is no big deal. And then, I'll go fishing again next week. So
where are you going fishing next week then?
Well, I could blindfold you and take you, but it's my secret little spot.
No, I got it.
No, usually Friday is like our fish day.
Yeah.
We're big fly fishermen.
Oh, okay.
So we'll take off 3:30 in the morning and head over to the Sierras and hike back in and fish for 6, 7, 8 hours, and then hike back out and be back home by 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So we do a 1-day turnaround. Yeah, long day, but it's well worth it. It's fun.
Yeah. So are you throwing stuff back, or are you?
I catch and release, barbless hooks, catch and release. I haven't kept a trout in years. So, but yeah, last weekend we were up catching the rare California golden trouts, and it was an absolute blast.
Did you catch that?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. I caught 43 in 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
But who's counting, right? My wife's going,
so you've been doing this for a while then.
So competitive. But now she's got a little counter. So she's counting her own fish.
She's counting her own fish now?
Yep, there
she's
you
like,
go, girl.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So I used to have her pick up a little pebble, put it in her pocket for every fish she would catch. So by the end of the day, she could just, pull out the pebbles and count them up, because she'd always forget. I don't know, how many did I catch? I'm going, well, put a little pebble in your pocket.
Yeah.
For every fish you catch, put a little pebble. So now she's accounting. So
oh, that sounds fun, man.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and the more she likes it, the more I get to fish. So
exactly.
I encourage
it. Some guys just want to leave their wives and just not be together.
Not be together. Yeah. Well,
it has its place too.
It has its place also.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks in Mexico, right?
Are you fishing down there?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Dorado on a fly.
Oh, yeah.
Dorado on a fly rod is a kick in the ass.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's fun. For sure. Yeah, Dorado and roosters.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my sister-in-law to give me an invite down there.
Oh, she got a place down there?
Yeah, where she's got a boat, so.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I've got some buddies that, Mexican friends down there that I've made, and I'll take them lures and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've got the little panga boats and take you out and fish for 3 or 4 hours and good to go.
I was watching this one guy. He was in Miami, and he took his jet ski all the way to the Bahamas.
Oh, jeez.
65 miles, 70 miles.
Wow.
And then he caught a marlin off his jet ski.
There you go.
I mean, he didn't land it, but I mean, he had a boat with him, but he basically pulled it up, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, last time I was down in Mexico, not the last time, but last summer when I was down there, that's normally when the Dorado were running.
Yeah.
And we were out, and we see this guy off of Punta de Mita. I'm down by Puerto Vallarta. So he's off of Punta de Mita in a little fishing kayak. He's got all the rods and all the whole setup coming out of the back of his kayak, and we can see him just kind of going nuts. So we cruise over next to him, and he's pulling in this sailfish.
Oh my gosh!
Up over the top of his kayak, and he's hitting it with a club, trying to kill the thing. Yeah. And he's got this giant smile on his face. And I'm thinking, that's a big fish, and you were in a kayak. I don't know how far it pulled him, but it took him on a ride trying to pull that sucker in. But yeah, I was just going, wow, now that's fun stuff.
That looks fun. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, but once people get into it, I have a couple buddies that are into fishing too. I'm like, let's go. Let's go on a fishing trip.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So we'll have to go sometime.
Definitely.
If you're up for getting at 3:30 in the morning.
I definitely am. I mean, when we go hunting, it's just as early. So
yeah. Well, of course. There you go. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to add, or plug where you're at and where people can find you?
ChaparralGardens.com. We do private tastings at the ranch.
Okay.
All by appointment only. So go to the website. Phone numbers on the website, or send us an email, and we'll set up a time for you to come out and do a private tasting.
Are those specific days, or just scheduled?
Just whenever.
Whenever.
Whenever. Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not fishing or in Mexico and you catch me just right, we'll do a tasting. tasting for you.
So is that a tour as well, or is that just tasting?
Mostly just tasting. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's not too hot, well, we can do a walk through the garden
Take
and
a little
stuff.
look.
And yeah, I mean, I show you around a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's not just a typical wine tasting. You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, come on out. You'll have a good time for sure.
Definitely. Well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Anything else like social media, or do you have anything going?
You
coming
know,
up?
everything is under Chaparral Gardens. So on Instagram, it's at Chaparral Gardens. My wife does all of that. I don't
Yeah.
do social media.
Right.
But yeah, website is probably the main way to get a hold of us.
Okay.
As far as any events or anything coming up, no, we just did the open farm trails for Farmstead Ed, which was last weekend or the weekend before. That was a good success. People buy tickets and go around. They do that once a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where can they find your vinegar if they wanted to pick it up?
Oh boy, Spice of Life in Paso Robles probably has one of the bigger selections.
Okay.
The little avocado stand
41,
heading into
right?
Morro
Yeah.
Bay off of 41. They've
Yeah.
got a good little
I've seen that
selection there. Oh boy. General Store in Paso Robles has got a few. Scattered around. California Fresh Market out in Five Cities area.
Pismo?
At
Okay.
the outlets. They've got them there. They've got a really good selection.
Okay.
So there's a few places you can get them. So online, you can buy them online and do a self pickup at our place also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. Sweet.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's shut this down then.
Right on, dude. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Of course, man.